chocolate cobbler is not known of as much, but we're going to start off with it the same way. I've got my 4 tablespoons of butter in the pan, and we're just going to throw it on the bottom rack here, and we're going to let that melt. And I've already got our mixtures mixed up here a little bit, so I can show you what's going on and go through this with you. If you wanted to, after we get our wet ingredients combined, you could go ahead and incorporate some chocolate chips into this if you wanted a little more chocolate. The one that I did before that I've got over here, I just let it cook about 3/4 of the way, and then I added right at the end of it on top of there so the chocolate chips didn't melt and get lost in the batter and everything. So we're going to try it a little bit different way this time. I believe we might try it with our cream cheese. But what we have in a medium bowl, we've stirred together our flour, our sugar, and 1.5 tablespoons of cocoa. How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? 3. Good. Boy, I need you to go down there and teach people. Will you do that for me? Okay. How many ounces are in a cup?
8.
How many quarts are in a gallon? How many pints are in a gallon?
8.
Okay. Hey, you're all doing good. Like I said, can you go down here and teach them? They won't listen to me. So, no. So a lot of measurements are not important in cooking. You see me do it a lot of times, and we'll just add a dab here and we'll add a dab there. In baking, though, measurements are important. If you get baking powder out of whack and you put a tablespoon instead of a teaspoon, you're going to have a mess on your hand because it's going to rise all over the place. All right, so again, we have all of our ingredients combined here. We have our flour, our sugar, and our cocoa powder. Next, we're going to add a little bit, about 2 tablespoons of our vanilla in, and I'm going to just add it straight in. Then we're going to add our milk in. Aren't we? Where did my milk go? It went up there with the cocoa?
1/2 cup of milk.
1/2 cup of milk. There we go. I was just seeing if you all were alert and ready to go. All right. So we've got that in. Now we're going to mix this up. Again, being really careful not to kind of go over the edge with it. This reminds you of a cake batter, okay? One thing that you're not adding in this that you would add into a cake batter is eggs and oil, okay? So we're just doing this straight. Like I said, we can go over the edge really easy. And I'm just going to add a hair. I don't dare try that. I'm going to add a hair more milk.
Hair more?
Hair more.
Okay.
Just a hair. A frog's hair more. There's that old hillbilly talk again, isn't it? We did a 1/2 cup, and like I said before, it depends on the thickness. And a lot of, some of you who've baked a lot will believe this. Some people don't, but weather has a lot to do with it, what you're doing with it. So I like to kind of beat the sides down a little bit and make sure we got it all incorporated. So you see it's just like a loose batter. So we got that going. And it's just like a brownie batter almost. You're not adding your eggs and you're not adding your oil and stuff to it like you would with a cake batter. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our pan out of the oven. Our butter should be melted just perfect. Again, please don't reach into your oven and grab these pans out like this. I really should have some oven mitts on. But these pans are amazingly cool, and so that's a neat thing about using those. So what we're going to do is we've stirred in our milk and we've stirred in our vanilla, and this is really good. You need to get this smooth, okay? You get this really smooth, and then we're going to spoon this over our batter mixture, or our butter mixture. You can see how that butter just kind of separates. Okay. Getting as much of it as out as you can. Put our bowl in our sink here. And one thing that you want to do is you want to spread it out like we did before. You're not mixing it, okay? You just want to kind of get it across the whole bottom of the pan. And do what? No. I did the other one, but not this one. You all didn't see the other one, so no, I'm kidding. I didn't. Okay, and then we're going to put that over the thing. One thing that we're going to do, though, and I should have started it sooner, is we're going to actually add some boiling water. And it shouldn't take this water but just a second to boil. What this is going to do is it's going to add some moisture, okay, to your batter. It's going to help it cook. This water has been on. It's rather warm now, so it shouldn't take but just a second to do that. And when we add that water to it, I had never added water to a cobbler before doing this the other day. This is a new recipe for me also. And so we got this going, and I added in there, and I prayed the whole time. It just did not feel right pouring just plain old water into a cake batter or into a cobbler batter. But we add this hot water in, and what it does is it helps cook it from the top side also, okay? And it makes a really, really moist cobbler batter. Again, you can accompany this with ice cream, okay? I can't think of anything better. Cool Whip, whipped cream. Who can tell me the difference between Cool Whip and whipped cream? Somebody. Somebody knows the difference. You've seen the commercial, I'm sure. Cool Whip that you buy in the tubs is pure oil that's been whipped. This is a dairy product. This is why this has to stay refrigerated. Now this is our Food Club extra creamy whipped topping. I just sit down with a can of this and watch TV. Okay, no problem whatsoever with that. When you look at it, how many carbs do you think this has and sugars this has in this per serving, which is 2 tablespoons? 1. You look at the other and it's like 31, I think, is what it is. So it's a big difference. This is a lot of flavor. This is why we use this for diabetics with angel food cakes and strawberries. I think we did it up here one time with raspberries or something in this. That's why you use this for diabetics, is because it has 1 sugar and 1 carb per 2 tablespoons. Now, if you're like me, there's 37, so it's 37 carbs and 37 per serving, because that's about a serving in the can. But, you know, it's really good. You can see our water's coming back to a boil. It's starting to steam. We're going to use 1.5 cups of our water. And like I said, when you do this, you're going to think there is no way that can be really good. These little cups are handy. These are 4-ounce little condiment cups that we use to serve samples and stuff in. So 3 of these will be what? 1.5 cups. So we're going to use that today. You're all quiet tonight. You're not giving me no. My hickey guy's not here tonight. I cannot think of his name, but he was in here the other day. The gentleman that came in and wore the Boston Red Sox hat all the time, and his wife. They sit towards the back. They go to North Bristol Baptist Church. And I can tell you anything you want to know about them. I cannot tell you their names right now. He has been in the hospital with double pneumonia and heart problems and everything else. And they were in here the other night. And he's been diagnosed as a diabetic now. So the good Lord knows who it is. So just keep them in your prayers as they're dealing with that. So we're going to go ahead and add our water on here. It's starting to bubble.
Put your sugar and your cocoa on there first?
Mm-mm.
Well, I thought that's what it said.
It does. And I wouldn't dare admit I was wrong. Huh? I said I got it right here. Thank you. I got tore up because that water wasn't boiling and I forgot about it. Now this is a lot, and I made this for both batches. So we're not going to put all of this on here. You're just going to sprinkle it over the top. Okay. This is not a diabetes friendly, I guess you would say, cobbler. Yeah, that's an awful lot of stuff there. So we're.
Cream cheese go on.
Do you want to add cream cheese to it?
You said to.
Do y'all want to add cream cheese?
Yeah.
Everybody that wants to add cream cheese, raise your hand. I guess the ayes have it. I was kind of afraid to. I got some looks when I did that, so we're going to go ahead and add it on top now. I hope this is the right time to add it on there.
Done before we leave?
I hope. If not, I'm going to eat good tonight. No. What time is it?
It's now 5 after.
5 after 7? Nah.
Won't get the taste of it. With the cream cheese.
I'll save you a bite and Michael can serve it next week. How's that? Do you believe me?
I'll be down here tomorrow to get it.
You'll be down here tomorrow to get it. Oh, golly, I'll be in trouble tomorrow, won't I? All right, so we add that on there. I'm going to find a little bit of a bigger cup to add our water into. We'll just use this little bowl and eyeball it here. Okay, right before we put it in the oven, you're going to pour this just right in the middle. That just does not feel right. And we're going to add it right into our middle of our oven. Our mixed berry cobbler is just about done. It's starting to brown up really good. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've done tonight?
You said cocoa powder. What do you mean when you say cocoa powder?
This right here, it's a baking cocoa. It's just a powder form. You can come up here and look when you want to after a while and see it. There's, I think Hershey's makes it, all the chocolate companies make it, and then this is the Food Club brand that we make here. Same ingredients, same thing. Really, really good.
What's the difference in it and just a can of cocoa?
If it's cocoa, like you're making cocoa out of hot chocolate, is that what you're talking about? The cocoa for hot chocolate already has your sugar and all that stuff mixed up in it to make it sweet. So when you make your hot chocolate and you add your milk or your water to it, this cocoa powder here, or baking cocoa that's here, it is just the pure stuff. It does not have any sugar. It does not have anything mixed up in with it. It's just a dry, a lot of people they have a Dutch chocolate powder. It's similar to that. It's just a pure thing. It don't have the mixture of stuff in it. Some of it will even have, like your cocoa that you buy and make hot chocolate with, will have powdered milk. That's the ones that you just add water to.
But just a can of cocoa. I don't think I add sugar to cocoa if I make it with just cocoa.
Right. Right. Now this is the baking, and like I said, it just doesn't have the ingredients that the like that has in it. So.
How long will cocoa remain usable?
In my home,
No, in my
in my home, not very long. That's why we don't buy it, because we find all kinds of use for it. It'll have an expiration date, like this says March 3rd, 2016. So that is before it's opened, though. Once you open it and the seal's broke, I would recommend keeping it in either the refrigerator or the freezer. And I would also take it and put it in a gallon-sized baggie and zip it shut before I did that, in order, because this will absorb other flavors in your refrigerator. It'll act like baking soda, basically. Okay, it'll absorb other flavors. So if you've got fresh tuna that's been put in your freezer, or fresh salmon, and you don't want your cocoa powder to taste like it, I would recommend putting it in a bag. But it has a very long, stable shelf life. But it's like anything else, the longer it's there. My wife made some Jell-O the other day, and then it expired in 2011. And you can tell we are not big Jell-O eaters at our home. And it was right after I had got out of the hospital, and they had me on a soft diet, so she made me some Jell-O, and I went and looked at the packages because I didn't remember buying any Jell-O, and sure enough, it expired in 2011. But you know what? It was just as good.
Was it?
It was just as good as if it had been bought today. I'm not saying keep it that long by any means, but it's sealed. It's a non-perishable item, so she wasn't trying to kill me off or anything. I feel very confident of that.
If I put it at a 9 by 13, would I double?
No, you'll watch it, the time or the amount.
13. I mean,
The time or the amount of batter you're going to use.
9 by 13 pan.
Right.
Would I use more ingredients?
If you're going to use more, if you want more, you can use more ingredients, or you can just watch it, use the same amount of ingredients and watch it. That's what I did with this one, with this chocolate one here. And we just watched it, or I watched it when we were cooking it. And you can see that it's still gooey on the center of it, and you'll see it a little closer in a minute when we all try it. Got just a super strong chocolate smell. I mean, I took that lid off and it was just like, wow. But it's still gooey a little bit like a cobbler should be. And that's one thing when you do cobblers is you don't want them super dry. I mean, that's a cake, okay? Cobblers have a little bit of moisture to them. With the peach cobbler that we've got in there right now, the one that we just did, we did in one of the smaller oval pans. That's the one I was kind of worried about it overflowing. So this one I did in the 9 by 13 inch pan. It's what you have really to use. If you want to use a 9 by 13 inch pan, just watch it and use the same amount of batter, or you can double it. Okay, it's not going to hurt to double. You see, there's plenty of room in there. You got a big family? Okay, well then you need to double it. When they come up with short and didn't have enough, they would say, "I'm glad you watched it, but it just wasn't enough," won't they? So it would probably be a good thing to do. And these are really good for Easter. You were talking about big families. Michael had already had decided what he was going to do, I think, before he decided he was going to go on his second honeymoon. So I asked him if he had already decided. He said, "Yeah, I did cobbler." So I stuck with his deal so that you all could be expecting certain things. Now on the mixed berry cobbler that we did, it's in the smaller one. So, you know, really in anything you do, you need to watch it and understand. I pulled toothpick through this one, and the batter, there was gooey on there from the fruit, but there was not gooey on there from the batter. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. You're never going to pull a toothpick out of a cobbler and it be totally clean. If you can stab it in the batter and it comes out and it's not liquefied, then you're okay. Anybody else? Does it smell good? It's starting to cook, I think. Well, I really appreciate you all being here. This has just got a few more minutes on it, and we'll share everything else. And when that gets done, we'll pull those out and let you try those also. So I really appreciate you all being here. Michael, I hope will be back next week, not because I don't want to spend it with you, but I hope his honeymoon wasn't too rough on him. And I hope he'll be back with us next week for that matter. But it's been good being back with you all, and thank you all for allowing me to do this.